Moonlighter 2 has a lot of different interlocking systems, and while none of them are particularly complicated, the game can still feel overwhelming, especially in the first few hours. So instead of telling you exactly how to play, I want to teach you 10 core concepts that'll help you learn and enjoy the game at your own pace. First of all, Moonlighter 2 is a roguelite with a staggering amount of permanent upgrades. And because you start with absolutely none of them, your early game power level is going to be somewhere between a wet napkin and oh god this hurts. But the person you are at the 1 hour mark is not even close to who you'll be 10 to 15 hours later. So if you're struggling at the very start, don't worry, that's completely normal. Unless you're some kind of a manic roguelike prodigy, you're not meant to crush every single run right from the get-go. Instead, just focus on pushing as far as you can, grab as much loot as you can carry, and then when things start going sideways, hit the very handy "get me the hell out of here" button and just cash in your loot. Despite the chaotic combat, Moonlighter 2 is not actually a fast-paced game. Even when you're completely surrounded, you can avoid damage just by backing off at the right time. And mind you, this is not about having the reflexes of a 10-year-old after 10 energy drinks. It's all about staying calm and observant, especially during boss fights. You'll generally want to alternate between offense and defense. Do one combo right after an enemy swings, then back off immediately because they're usually going to be ready to launch round 2. It doesn't matter if it's a basic enemy, an elite, or a boss the size of a small truck. The rhythm is always the same. Hit them a few times, dip out, and repeat. Keep it simple, don't get greedy, and you'll be walking out of those early runs with your dignity, mostly intact, and your purse so heavy you can barely even lift it. Continuing with the combat advice, you should know that Moonlighter 2's dodge roll is absolutely ridiculous. It has long invincibility frames and almost no cooldown, so you can pretty much roleplay Sonic, roll around at high speed, bully sad robots, and hoard all the precious gold you can find. The actual tip here is very simple. If you're ever in trouble and have no idea what's happening, start rolling and don't stop until you're somewhere safe. 9 times out of 10, you'll make it out with all of your butt hairs nice and unsinged. As an added bonus, rolling is much faster than just running around. Though the downside is you'll be spending a lot of the game smelling your own farts. So, up to you. Personally, I won't judge. While your melee weapons do most of the damage, don't ignore your gun as it has incredible utility. Hitting an enemy that's winding up a big flying attack will make them fall flat on their face and leave them wide open to your bulging sack. I should have phrased that better. Anyway, whenever possible, keep a bullet or two in reserve. You never know when you'll need to politely convince an enemy to back the hell off. I know from personal experience that it's going to be very tempting to focus entirely on maximizing your inventory value and becoming the most obscenely wealthy broom holder in all the lands. But remember, you actually have to survive to cash out. If you die, your relics will lose most of their value and basically turn into a monument to depression. So before you lose your mind playing the surprisingly addictive inventory Tetris, make sure to power yourself up. There is no perfect number of buffs you should aim for before shifting your focus to loot. But as long as you grab a couple of sources of bonus damage, you will be golden, so you can then focus on getting the actual gold. And if things ever start looking really bad, just remember, running away is not cowardice if you're doing it with a giant sack of money. Moonlighter 2 has a surprising amount of temporary perks that are about as useful as an umbrella in a tornado. These include basically every single perk related to environmental traps. The traps are rare, single use, and completely absent in boss fights, so if you see a new upgrade and have no idea what sort of spikes or genies or other such nonsense it's talking about, you can safely ignore it. If it's tied to traps, it's a trap, and not the fun kind. Simply stealing stuff from enemies is not enough. To make Scrooge McDuck piles of money, you'll need to do a bit of inventory Tetris to beef up your relics before selling them on. The basic strategy is very obvious. Just follow the instructions written on the relics and you'll instantly understand how they work. That said, do be careful where you place them, as one errant twitch might have half your backpack erupt in flames. Not that I would know anything about that. What I do know is that you should delay any sort of relic tweaking for as long as possible. Hoard a massive pile of them, especially the utility ones like burn or shield relics, and only go full mad scientist once you've completely run out of space. And if you're wondering why, it's very simple. You want as many rare relics as possible to benefit from your actions, because that is where the real money is. And if that means tossing a couple of useless, no ability commons along the way, that is perfectly fine. I mean, honestly, do you really need a dozen pieces of burnt wood? Really now? Continuing with the relic theme, they come in 5 tiers: common, uncommon, rare, epic, and legendary. The higher the tier, the more gold they're worth as a baseline. So if you have the option to stack levels onto one relic, you'll generally want to stack onto your highest tier ones because that's how math works. Big number multiplied by big number equals loads of money. The one catch is that utility-focused relics can have a much lower price than their fancier siblings. So when you get new relics for the very first time, try to beef up the ones designed to grow in value, as usually they'll be your golden ticket. While the exact selling strategy depends on which perks you get, there is a very reliable formula you should stick to. Sell your cheapest items at low prices to build up perks and any potential combos, and then finish the session by unloading your big ticket items at higher than average prices. Don't worry about losing money early in the process. After a few runs, common and uncommon items will be worth so little that selling them cheaply is basically like using bait while fishing. And if those early sales then give you a perk that's like plus 20% to legendary item prices, that one buff alone will make more money than an entire mountain of garbage. So don't get attached to your junk. Dangle it in front of customers so you can then lure them in and then upsell them. And I am really bad with phrasing today. Moonlighter 2 goes absolutely buck wild when it comes to permanent upgrades. There are 8 shops offering everything from stat boosts to bonus weapons to definitely not tax fraud. So where do you even start? As a rule of thumb, focus on yourself first and then the shop second. Because while being rich is great, being alive is even better. As it turns out, dead shopkeepers tend not to be the most successful. Early on, I would recommend upgrading your healing options, your weapons, and your inventory size. This holy trinity will turn you from a weird broom-wielding mute into a magnificent weird broom-wielding mute who also brings home the big bucks. And then, once you're reliably winning runs, then you can upgrade your shop and basically just ruin the local economy. Hooray for capitalism! And there you have it, 10 simple tips that will hopefully make your early game smoother, safer, and way more profitable. If you have any questions about the guide or Moonlighter 2 itself, let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to help you out. And also, if I missed anything important, feel free to, at least somewhat politely, yell at me in the comments. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, a like and a sub would go a long way, and I do hope to see you again soon. Bye bye!